G'day, I'm Matt. This channel's called The Right Car, and I'm going to tell you, this is going to be the right car for you if you have quite a lot of money and you really want an electric car that's performance focused, but also has a few neat tricks up its sleeve. I'll tell you about them in this review, and please, if you haven't already, like and subscribe. Thanks. Now, if you're not aware, this car and the Porsche Taycan share heaps, but I reckon that the Audi model looks better on the outside and feels nicer on the inside. I'll show you the inside shortly. You can make up your own mind about the exterior, but hey, just remember that this car costs close to $250,000 in Australia. So that's almost enough to put down a deposit on a one-bedroom unit in Western Sydney these days. It is quite expensive, but it comes, I think, reasonably well equipped for the money that you're paying for it. It has really nice technology, including LED, matrix and laser headlights. Those laser headlights are amazing at night time. You can see something like 600 meters into the distance with them on high beam. They are exceptional lights. There's also 21-inch wheels, adaptive air suspension, four-wheel steering, a sports differential as well, a bunch of different drive modes, and on the inside you've got a pair of digital screens, you've got seat heating, ventilated front seats, leather trim on the inside, heated steering wheel, and a bunch of really fantastic luxurious features on the inside, including carbon fiber twill inserts, which look fantastic if you ask me. But keep this in mind, if you want to save yourself a cool $68,000, then you could go for the e-tron GT without the RS stuff. So it gets slightly smaller wheels and a bit less equipment, but does still have a lot of the equipment that I've mentioned. So it might be a better car for you if you are interested in this one. Up until recently, I would have said that the best alternative to this car was the Tesla Model S, but you can't get that anymore in Australia, so that's a shame. Instead, well, the best alternative is probably the car that it shares a lot with, the Porsche Taycan, and it has an entry point that's actually at a lower price level than this Audi, but it stretches a lot higher as well, up towards $400,000 for the high-spec versions. And it also comes with a not as practical as it actually looks like it should be, Cross Turismo wagon version, which I think looks amazing, but maybe isn't as practical as it probably should be for a car that's nearly 5 meters long. Now, if it was me and I'm spending my imaginary $250,000, I'm not buying an electric Audi, I'm buying an Audi RS6 Avant. I think that car is one of my favorite cars of all time. Huge 4-litre twin-turbo V8 engine, all-wheel drive, massive in terms of practicality and performance, and I reckon it is a future classic. So if you are looking at getting a car that's going to be, well, going up in value, buy that. I should be buying it, but I don't have enough money. So please share this channel with your friends so we can grow the numbers, so I might be able to make a little bit more money. I don't think I'll ever get to that sort of level. And obviously there are some other options out there. If you're looking for an electric, luxurious, sedan-like vehicle, then maybe the Mercedes-AMG EQE 53 4MATIC, I think that's its name. It's a bloody interesting looking car, but it's also got a whole heap of technology and speed on its side. It also splits the difference between, well, the entry-level and high-spec versions of this car, so it might be a better price point for you at $215,000 or thereabouts. But tell me which one you would pick, or if you'd pick something completely different in the comments. In order to be able to fit so much battery pack in this car, it's big. It's only 11 millimeters off 5 meters long. Yeah, that is massive. And it's also almost 2 meters wide. It is more than 2 meters wide if you include the mirrors. So don't go thinking that this is a small vehicle. It's got a really long wheelbase too, 2.9 meters of wheelbase, but it's only 1.4 meters tall. So it is pretty little when you think about the height profile, but hey, it's also not very little when you think about the rest of the profile. This is a big car. All right, so does it have a big boot? Spoiler alert, it doesn't. You're probably expecting it to be a sporty liftback, but no, It's a sedan, which is a bit strange, and it also has a pretty small boot. Only 350 litres of cargo space in the RS version is what I've seen as the figure, so that's not fantastic. And it's also pretty limited in terms of the usability of the space as well. Look, I'll show you some footage with my daughter's pram in there. It only just fit, and it's not a massive pram, so if you have a double pram, it's not going to work for you, I don't think. Also, it doesn't have a spare wheel because it's an EV and that'd be extra weight. It's already got enough of that to deal with. So yeah, none of that to cope with in the back. And there's just a little bit of a storage section underneath here. So, it's not going to be the most practical option for families, if that matters. Ugh. Yep, that sort of noise. You'll be making a lot of that noise. If you're a big human or an older human, or a less mobile human, you might find that the ingress and egress in this car is going to be a challenge for you. So it's quite low, the door openings are quite small, and you do find yourself sort of slumping into the car and heaving yourself out of it. And I found myself making some ungodly noises as I've done that. So I'm pretty mobile and I'm under 40, so yeah, it could be an issue for some people. But if you are suited to this car, wow, the interior is exceptionally good. I am loving the materials in here. This carbon twill across the dashboard, it runs onto the doors as well. It looks awesome. You've got this amazing Napa leather seat trim with the red stitch finish. Just looks great. You've got red stitching on the doors. You've got Dynamica microfiber sort of stuff on the doors as well. This Dynamica finish, I just love it. I think it's fantastic feeling in your hands. The steering wheel's a great shape, a great size, and it also feels really nice in your hands. The controls are all relatively easy to get used to as well. You don't have the secondary touchscreen system that you get in some other expensive Audis for your climate control and media and that sort of stuff. Instead, you've got regular buttons and dials down here, which is nice. Touchscreen media up here, as you'd expect. Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, wireless for both. You've also got this big digital instrument cluster for the driver. It's fantastic. There's a head-up display as well if you need it. And there's obviously the stuff you would expect where you'd expect it. So you've got your drive selector down here. You've got your gear shifter here as well. It's a bit of a strange shifter. You do get used to it though. There's also a little rotary dial. Well, it's not even a dial. It's just like a button section down here for your volume control at a very quick touch if you want to, because there's no knobs up here, for instance. There's a couple of cup holders here. You've got a storage section in here, which has a little section where you can slot your phone in and keep it out of sight, and it'll wirelessly charge while it's in there, which is really nice to see. The comforts you would expect in this kind of car at this kind of money, you've got heated and cooled front seats, a heated steering wheel, and climate control. So yeah, it feels properly special. It can park itself. It's got a button for that too. Surround view camera. Yeah, feels special. Panoramic sunroof as well. Actually, it's not a sunroof. It's just a panoramic glass roof, and it's tinted so that it doesn't let too much of that yucky UV stuff through. But you can get rid of it if you want the carbon roof option. It costs a lot more money though. All right, let's check out the second row space. Okay. Yeah, so as I mentioned, I'm 182 centimeters or 6 foot. This is not very roomy for a car that's nearly 5 meters long. Yeah, it's probably better suited to people who are 5'8" or under, I would say. Headroom's just a bit tight, even though I'm not really brushing the ceiling or the glass ceiling as it is. It just doesn't feel as roomy as you might hope it will. Legroom's a little bit tight as well. These seats are big, sculpted, sporty bucket seats. So yeah, they do eat into the backseat space a little bit. I've got a little bit of room, but not much, bit of toe room. And yeah, it's going to be better suited as a 4-seater, not a 5-seater. You can fit someone in the middle, but there's still a big transmission tunnel intrusion there. And yeah, it's not going to be comfortable for anyone sitting there because these outer seats are quite sculpted and bolstered for occupants. And if you do have children in your outboard seats, as I did, my daughter came for a ride with me in this one, you can fit a child seat in here pretty easily, although it is a bit of a task fitting the top tether strap up there. So just keep that in mind. Now, there's ISOFIX in both window seats and 3 top tethers, in case you're wondering. You've got directional air vents, climate control back here, little map lights as well, which is nice. No map pockets. There's cup holders between the seats here as well. That's a flip down armrest with cup holders. And if you want to, you can fold that down so you can store skis or something like that. Just make sure they're secure so they don't fly through and smash up the lovely interior at the front. So certainly not the most practical, nearly 5 meter long car. So it could be a deal breaker for a lot of people. As you would expect, this performance Audi model comes with quattro all-wheel drive as standard. So you've got a motor at the front axle and a motor at the rear axle. And that's whether you choose the GT or the RS sporty version, which is this one. Now, let's talk about the GT first. So it still has more than 300 kilowatts and more than 600 Newton meters, and it can do 0 to 100 in 4.1 seconds using its quattro all-wheel drive and its 2-speed transmission, which is a bit interesting in itself. And then if you choose this version, the RS, which is super duper sporty, it has up to 475 kilowatts of power on boost mode, because there is a boost mode, and more than 800 Newton meters of torque as well. That means a 0 to 100 time of 3.3 seconds for this car, which is ridiculous. I don't know if it's worth the extra 70 grand over the entry-level version, but maybe it is. Who knows? Also nice to see some storage under the bonnet as well. Let me show you something really cool about this car. So it's got a charge port on this side, which is the AC charge port. So if you're charging on AC, you're looking at about 13.5 hours from 0 to 100%, which is a very long time, but it has a very big battery. We're talking about 93 kilowatt hours of battery pack in this car. So, yep, it's big. On the other side, let me show you. It's got another one. This side, though, is your DC charge port. So if you were going to go to a fast charger or something like that, then this would be the one you'd use. Speaking of that, this car has an 800 volt architecture, which means it can do DC charging at up to 270 kilowatts, which is enough to give it 100 Ks of range in about 5 minutes, according to Audi, which is very, very quick. And if you're doing 10 to 80%, it's going to take something like 21 minutes, if you can find one of those fast chargers. Yeah, if you've seen my TikToks, you'll know that charger situation, Australia, not good. All right, so what's it like to drive? Well, very good. It's also very heavy. It weighs more than 2.4 tons, this RS model. So you can feel that weight, but it is amazing how quickly this car will accelerate from 0 to 100, or 0 to 50 even. It's sort of mind-blowingly fast. And for the traffic light takeoff, or if you're just in a bit of a hurry to get through a gap in traffic, this car is unbelievably fast. Now, obviously, you're not going to use that huge amount of power and torque every single time you drive the car, and you're not going to drive it like a maniac every single time you drive the car either, because it also manages to be a luxury sedan as well as having effortless grunt and power. I guess that is the definition of luxury, isn't it? Effortlessness. And this car, yep, it is very, very effortless. It's quite amazing how good the adaptive air suspension is in this car. So it can adjust its level, and it can also adjust the firmness of the damping of the air suspension. So it's in comfort mode at the moment, so it's a little bit wobbly, as you'd probably expect. It's going to be a little bit softer and cushier in comfort mode to, well, accommodate for those enormous 21-inch wheels with low profile tires. But if I hit the drive select button and I put it into dynamic, you instantly feel things just stiffen up, and the whole body, it's like it's clenching its jaw all of a sudden. It's sort of like, okay, let's go. And you know, I'm not going to go like that in this street in my area, but if you do find a really quiet road, which I'm going to in a sec, yeah, you'll have fun. Let me just give it a little squirt. Whoa, yeah. Yeah, okay. That just set me back in my seat. Fast. Of course it's fast. What are you thinking, Campbell? it even goes through corners better than you would expect for a vehicle that weighs this much. And yeah, it just, well, it's innate, this ability to be able to just change direction so quickly. Even though it's so big, it's so heavy, it's, oh, mind-blowingly good. The steering is another highlight, obviously. It does have this real point and shoot accuracy to the way that it behaves when you are steering, and it's just very easy to guess. Even though this is, like I keep saying, a bloody big car, it's pretty easy to maintain a line in a corner, or even just go through a roundabout or do something boring like a reverse parallel park. Yeah, it's easy enough. Is it fun though? Yes. But it's not maybe as fun as an RS5 or an RS6 or an R8 or anything like that. So yeah, just change your expectations if that's what you are thinking. Obviously you don't have that visceral experience because there is no huge engine to, I guess, egg you on. But even so, it's very quick, still fun, but not mind-blowing fun, except for when you do the acceleration stuff. So let's talk about noise. Well, it is a luxury sedan and a sports sedan, so it does have, well, a crossover of noisiness and quietude, you might say. It does let a fair amount of tyre roar into the cabin. There's also this sound that's generated as well, which does have a bit of an interesting note to it. I like it, but you might not. And also, I just think that, well, it's maybe not as quiet as I was expecting it would be, because I've driven other electric cars at this kind of money, and it is a little bit loud, but it's also an RS, so I totally get that. Now, I mentioned the 2-speed transmission, so it is a 2-speed. You don't really notice it change gears unless you are really pounding it, and it doesn't really change gears per se, just sort of switches ratios. But yeah, I think it's pretty smooth, as you would expect. It's an EV, so it's smooth when it comes to the acceleration. Of course, it's an EV, so it has regenerative braking, but it has really good brake pedal feel, unlike some other EVs or hybrids out there. And it's also got super duper amazing ceramic brakes, so it pulls up like that. Let me show you. And that wasn't even full brake force. Yeah, very, very impressive. It's not small, it's not light, and it's not overly efficient. Well, the official numbers are pretty good. So I'll show you both the non-RS, the e-tron GT, that's on screen now. That's the official combined energy consumption figure, which is what you should be able to achieve across a mix of driving. And then the RS version, which has more power, more torque, same battery, same range, but it does have a fairly big kick up the backside in terms of grunt. So it has higher energy consumption. And if you're wondering what I've seen across my week of testing this car, I've been doing some fun things in this car, but yeah, you'll see it on screen now. I was okay with that, actually, considering I've had similar numbers from a Volvo XC40 all-wheel drive electric. It's not too bad. The e-tron GT range has not been tested by ANCAP or Euro NCAP, so there is no applicable star rating for safety, but it does come, as you would expect, absolutely packed to the rafters with technology, including autonomous emergency braking with pedestrian and cyclist and junction detection. There's active lane keeping assistance, blind spot monitoring, rear cross traffic alert, rear auto braking, a rear view camera, front and rear parking sensors, a surround view camera, and there's, well, so much more than that as well. Now, if you're wondering, there are 8 airbags fitted to this car, dual front, front side, rear side, and full length curtain as well. But it doesn't have a front center airbag, which is a bit strange for a car of this size and at this price point. You mustn't need it. If you buy an e-tron like this, then you're going to get a 5-year unlimited kilometre warranty for the vehicle, and you'll see on your screen now the details for the battery warranty as well. So it's about the class standard, as you would expect. Now, when it comes to ownership details, okay, you've got 6 years of free servicing. The servicing is due every 24 months or 30,000 kilometers. So you end up with 90,000 Ks of cap price servicing for free. So the cap price is $0. You also get a 6-year subscription to the ChargeFox network. So hopefully the network reliability improves. And there's also a 6-year roadside assist plan too. So that's all covered nicely. The Audi RS e-tron GT is one of the best cars you can buy if you're looking for a luxurious but sporty electric vehicle, and you can justify this kind of money because it is exceptional. I've really loved my time in this, and I reckon it's going to be right for a lot of people out there. Well, there's not going to be a lot of people who can justify this, but honestly, if you can, go and check it out because it's fantastic. Now, let me know what you think in the comments section below, and also, if you haven't already, like, subscribe, and ring the bell. See you in the next one.